what will the state budget process mean for local school districts? I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me this hour is Pennsylvania State Representative Will Tallman. Thanks so much for being with us.
My pleasure to be here.
Let's talk a little bit about the governor's budget address as it relates to education. Two different components. There's that K-12 education funding component. There's also a higher ed component. What were your thoughts regarding the budget address?
Well, first of all, this was his first budget proposal, and I think it was a good starting point. And like I said, it's a starting point. Now, we as the General Assembly will modify that, and I hope we make some significant changes in that. And I have, well, number one, I'm disappointed in the ag side of the budget, and then I have concerns on the educational part of the budget.
So what do those concerns include? Are they related to the amount of funding going back to local districts?
Well, it has to do with the school funding in its totality. The state related universities, that's Penn State, Pitt, Temple, and Lincoln, have had 52% cuts, and whether or not they're able to take that kind of a cut, that's a debatable issue. Our state system of higher education, that's our Millersburg, Shippensburg, and those type of schools, I'm not sure they're going to be able to take that kind of a cut in their part of the budget. And then our K through 12, the basic ed part of the funding, I have significant concerns on, because everybody knew, at least the school districts in my part of the state knew, that the basic ed funding was going to be cut. And they actually had thought it was probably going to be cut to 06, 07 numbers, and it's actually cut to 08, 09 budget numbers. And I'm fine with that part of the budget cut, because we knew we were going to have to make cuts in education. But Governor Corbett has proposed cutting the accountability block grant money, and then other smaller numbers like Science in Motion and some of those other programs. And then when you roll that together as in its total, that's a pretty significant cut to each one of the local school districts, at least in my part of the state.
And what kind of impact will that have on local school districts? Will it put more of a reliance on property taxes, or are we going to be seeing cuts within the school districts?
Well, it is my desire that whatever comes out of the budget process, we don't allow the school districts to pass any type of money onto the property taxpayers. We, as property taxpayers, and I'm including myself, we are taxed out to the minimum. We as a state aren't taking any more money in, and we as taxpayers don't have any more to give. And so we can't do it, so we have to cut. And we can't do a tax transfer, taking it from the state taxes and transferring it to local taxes, because that's still a tax increase. And so we need to make sure, and one of those things that we can make sure happen is we need to give school districts tools so that they're able to handle whatever the budget is when it's finally passed.
And I want to quickly get to some of those tools, and we just have a short time left, but schools have called for everything from requirements changing for school nurses to advertising, a variety of different mandate relief.
Yeah, two of the big things which I think would be an easy pass for us is prevailing wage. I would like to see it completely eliminated. That impacts school costs 20 to 30% on any kind of construction programs. The next thing I'd like to see is advertising. I'd like to see the bid or the limit on advertising go way above the 4,000, and I'm thinking 10,000 or maybe even higher, and then allow our school districts to advertise for bids electronically. Now, of course, the newspapers are not going to be in favor of that, because they get a significant source of their revenue from those bid requirements where they have to put it in a newspaper. So those are just two which I feel are easy to do tools that we can put in the school district's tool budget, along with economic furloughs of teachers and school strikes.
All right, thank you very much. We've been talking with Pennsylvania State Representative Will Tallman. I'm Jill Horner for Comcast Newsmakers.